Members, guests, it's my honor and privilege to introduce to you the governor of the great state of Oklahoma, Governor Mary Fallin.
Lieutenant Governor, statewide elected officials, Speaker Hickman, President Pro Tem Beeman, members of the court, the honorable senators and representatives and cabinet members, tribal leaders, distinguished guests, and citizens of the great state of Oklahoma. It is my duty as well as my great honor to be here today to discuss the state of the state. Before we begin, let's acknowledge two great Oklahomans and irreplaceable public servants who were in this chamber last year but aren't with us today. Representative David Dank and Labor Commissioner Mark Costello. All right, had to make a little adjustment there. We lost David in April. We lost Mark in August. Though they are not physically here with us today, the work they did is irreplaceable and everlasting. We do have Mark's wife, Kathy Costello, and two of her children. Kathy, I see you. Anna Marie and Ian, thank you so much for joining us. Kathy, I want to thank you personally for your work that you've been doing on our mental health delivery system. Thank you for your dedication to that. God bless you. I'm also joined today by my loving husband, Wade, and two of our children, Christina and Adam, and my new daughter-in-law, Elizabeth Christensen. Now, you know how parents always like to embarrass their children? Well, with the invention of modern technology, my son, who's in Austin, Texas, is watching his mom online. So, hi, Price. It's my turn to embarrass you. Love you. Hope you're doing well in Texas. Well, this session offers us huge challenges, and there are huge challenges before us. Our oil and gas sector has taken a dramatic downturn. We have warfare on many domestic fronts with our energy producers that are hurting. And when our domestic energy producers hurt, Oklahoma hurts too. I'm reminded of 5 years ago when I gave my first State of the State address. We faced a number of difficult circumstances as we started climbing out of the national recession. We worked hard to forge a more prosperous state. Just 2 years ago, we had the fourth fastest growing economy in the nation. Our savings account fund, the rainy day fund, had grown to $535 million, quite an improvement over the $2.03 that was left remaining in the fund when I took office in 2011. And today, as Yogi Berra was fond of saying, it's like deja vu all over again. Now, just as then, we are seeing some jobs disappearing in the wake of an economic crisis that is largely out of our control. We've seen a 70% drop in oil prices in less than 2 years, which has had a tremendous impact upon our revenue. There is an excess of supply of oil and gas in the marketplace, and the instability worldwide in their markets doesn't help us. It's a tough world out there, and it's easy to get discouraged or timid. Many of us have heard the old saying, never let a crisis go to waste. We can use this budget crisis to create new opportunities to build a solid foundation for Oklahoma. We can do it. First, it starts with the budget. The oil price collapse and the decades-old structural problems with the budget have caused almost $1 billion shortfall. How we will respond will define our future more than anything else. We have tough decisions ahead, folks. We need to roll up our sleeves and do the hard work. But if we work together, we can overcome this. We can do it. Even in this fiscal climate, we can pass a budget that begins with the type of meaningful fiscal reform that the state needs. That's the type of reform you'll see proposed in my executive budget. But first, I want us to consider why we need bold action on the budget. So, in front of you, there is a spreadsheet with 3 approaches to the budget. Each column is marked with colors of a common traffic light, with red for stop, yellow for caution, and green for go. Take a look at the red column first. This shows what happens if we take no action. If we don't change the way we apportion and collect revenues, most state agencies will be faced with a 13.5% appropriation cut for the 2017 fiscal year, or a total cut of 16.5% since July 1st, considering December's revenue failure. This approach would, for example, cut common education funding by $330 million. Yes, $330 million. We can all agree that this is an unacceptable path. It's not a path that I want Oklahoma to take, and I know we can do better. Now, look at the yellow column. This is a quick and easy shortcut, often used in the past. It withdraws every penny available from the rainy day fund, and it reduces agency cuts to 10%. That's still a $244 million cut to public education that we can all agree is not acceptable. The path in the yellow column isn't one Oklahoma should go down either. Now, the green column shows the budget I propose. This budget takes control of the challenges we face today and puts us on a far more better footing for the future. It makes the necessary cuts that will be required with continued efficiencies from agencies. It prioritizes our spending, and it lessens those reductions in core service areas whenever possible. It modernizes our tax code to make it more consistent with the 21st century commerce that we now have. Because this budget proposes using recurring revenue, it uses 0 one-time revenue. Thank you, Scott. You heard me right. There is no one-time money in this budget. It doesn't even use the rainy day fund either. We need to keep the rainy day fund as flush as we can because the energy sector downturn may last longer than anyone ever expected. We need to budget accordingly. While we can't control the price of oil, we can control our budget. Let's take charge of the budget this session. We can do it. My budget addresses structural imbalances. It fixes problematic tax policy. It prioritizes spending. It puts recurring, stable revenue on the table. This is the type of budget I want you to send me for approval. It's going to require hard work and important votes, but it'll be the right thing to do for future generations of Oklahomans. In my budget, we acknowledge that the revenue downturn we're in, and we make strategic cuts to agencies. Most of the agencies will see an appropriation reduction of 6%. That's not pleasant, but it's a far better position than 13.5% or 10% across the board cut and depleting our savings account. We can do this.